Hello and welcome to Slightly Nostalgic. My name is Griff and we have watched Firefly episode 7, Jaynestown. Alright, this is a good one. I really like this episode, but I have a lot of nitpicks here this time that I never noticed any other time watching this, but this last time I was really paying close attention, taking notes as usual here, and just there's a lot of little things that I think are kind of weird that I want to talk about. So first of all, I already mentioned this in a previous episode when Simon was swearing, but this is the episode where it starts out with Kaylee making fun of Simon for never swearing, which doesn't make any sense because he clearly has in front of her, and she was even really offended by it before. So, or not offended by the swearing, but like he hurt her feelings before while swearing. So come on. Another nitpick is when they land on the planet, Simon kind of goes out there with the crew, but he's not planning to go out onto the planet. He's planning to stay on the ship, and they kind of convince him to join their little plan. But he's wearing a three-piece suit. Like, he's got the full getup with a vest and a jacket and everything. Why is he all dressed up like that if he thought he was staying on the ship the whole time? That's a little strange. Also, why is Simon suddenly such a bad liar? Like, knowing what we find out in the movie, knowing about how he sort of personally infiltrated the Alliance to get River out, that's not like a really big spoiler, it's just something we find out. He's clearly a very capable liar, and also knowing that, we know that he lied to the crew in the pilot, saying that he paid somebody else to smuggle her out. And for him to even exist as a fugitive, we know he's got to be a decent liar. We've seen him lie just fine before, so what's the deal with like the weird fake TV bad liar thing? I mean, the lie works. They convince the guy that he's there to buy the mud, like he's just a rich mud buyer or whatever. But he does the fake TV thing where you have to let the audience know that he's lying. So he just stammers and it just does a terrible job of being convincing. But we don't need, like, the audience doesn't even need him to do that, because we saw the conversation where they made the plan for him to go lie and pretend to be the mud buyer. So he could have lied perfectly well and it would have been fine. Maybe they were doing it for laughs? I don't know. Another weird inconsistency with Simon's character here. Oh, we've got to have a facial hair update here. Facial hair report for this one is that Wash is a little bit scruffier than usual. Everybody else seems normal, but I don't know, he's got some scruff going on there. Not sure why, I guess he just got kind of lazy, didn't shave for a while. So anyway, back on the ship, there's lots of crazy antics with River and Book, and I didn't really think the hair joke was funny. I don't know. It's just like, okay, he's got like a lot of hair. It's poofy. It's not really that crazy looking. It's weird that River would be so scared of it, but I guess she's crazy, so whatever. Okay, the joke just didn't really land for me, but oh well. But I did really like the scene where she's going through the Bible and like taking lots of notes and talking about inconsistencies and like math and theories and all of these things, and saying that she's fixing the Bible. And I wanted Book to just be like, okay, just fix it, fix the Bible, and then we can read it. That would be great. I want to read a Bible fixed by River. That would be super interesting. I found Shepherd Book's response to this a little bit strange, though. I felt like it was pretty obvious that you have like non-Christian writers writing this Christian religious character, and it's just kind of, because what he actually says is faith isn't supposed to make sense. You let yourself believe it enough to change you, I think is almost an exact quote of what he says. And I don't think that's really, I don't think you're quite hitting the head of how most Christians think. I think most modern day Protestant Christians would not say that they're just letting themselves believe something even though it may not really be true because of positive effects it has on their life. I think maybe that's like an outsider's interpretation of somebody who has no experience with organized religion firsthand. I don't know. But I would think most Christians would tell you that no, they do literally believe that the things the Bible says are true, and they you know, they live their life according to that. But this is in the future, so who knows? Maybe Christianity has just totally changed. Back over in the crappy town, there's lots of fun moments with the Jane song and Mutter's milk, and a lot of really iconic Firefly moments are in this episode. Drunk Simon and Kaylee are fantastic together. I think that's the first time that I was like, okay, I could see this relationship happening. They just both had to get wasted, and now they have chemistry. Drunk Wash is also hilarious. Alan Tudyk does fantastic drunk acting. You know, totally believable that he's actually drunk. Random side note, there's a quote earlier before they all get drunk where Simon says that ancient Egyptians, back on Earth that was, used beer as a way to, like, control their slaves. How it was liquid bread, so it would keep them alive, but it knocked them out at night because of the alcohol, so they wouldn't be inclined to insurrection. Is that true? I haven't heard that anywhere else. For a while, I just kind of assumed that was true, and I'm not actually sure it is, now that I think about that. Maybe I should have looked that up. Anyway, still keeping track of when they get to keep the cargo. This time, they did indeed get to keep the cargo, but their whole mission for being there is pretty incidental to the main storyline. They're there to pick up some stuff, and they go and they pick it up and they get it onto the ship, and it's just kind of like this random throwaway scene where they get the stuff and put it on the ship, and they're like, okay, anyway, back to the stuff with Jane. And of course Simon gets kidnapped again, and I'm starting to notice a pattern here that I didn't notice before, where Simon says something to make Kaylee mad because he's kind of stupid sometimes around her, says something, she gets offended, but then he gets back on her good side by getting himself beat up or kidnapped or both. So this, you know, it works out pretty well for him. I guess I should take notes. But then at the end of this episode, the mood comes way down, and this goofy, wacky episode actually ends on a pretty dark note. The dude gets killed saving Jane. Jane has a lot of morally conflicting feelings about this, and there's a really great quote at the end that I've always really liked, where Jane is asking Mal, like, why would they idolize me even knowing that I wasn't actually a good guy, that I just happened to dump the money on them by accident. And Mal says it's not about him, it's about what they need. And the quote I really like is, it's my estimation that every man ever got a statue made of him was one kind of son of a bitch or another. I like that quote. It's great. It's so true too. Like, anybody who is lifted up in society and idolize any celebrity, any YouTuber, you know, you have to remember they're a human, they have flaws, they're not as cool as they seem, and everything is just more complicated than you might think. But we idolize people, maybe because we just need people to look up to, and it's not really about them, it's just about what people need. I think that's a really cool idea. But that's all I've got for this episode. Be sure to watch the next one if you're following along, which is Out of Gas. And this is a huge tone shift. We've had a couple of goofy, funny episodes in a row. Now we're going for a more serious episode, but it's a really good one. It's also one of my favorites. So I will see you then. Thanks so much for watching. I'll see you next time. Okay, bye.